Hey, welcome back, guys. In this video, we're going to go over correlation risk and how to avoid some big mistakes. So we're going to talk about the concept of correlation between currency pairs today and how they can affect your risk management. If you were to look at each pair in the currency market, you would notice that when one pair falls, another pair rises. Or on the other side of that, you might notice that if one currency pair falls or rises, another one does the same thing along with it. So if you've noticed that before, then you've already seen correlation in the market. And correlation just means the relationship between two things. And in the Forex world, correlation is a statistical measure of how currencies move in relation to one another. And here's why this is important. The reason is because correlation can be a risk that novice traders will easily overlook, and we don't want you out here making rookie mistakes like that. So take this lesson to heart and avoid accidentally over-risking on a trade or a set of trades. So when trading currencies, it's important to remember that currencies are traded in pairs. So they're paired up with another currency. So no single currency can stand alone. They're always related to everything, to other currencies. So unless you plan on trading just one pair at one time, it's absolutely critical that you understand how different currency pairs move in relation to each other. So what's the risk in correlation? There's two main risks. The first risk is trading two different directions on the same currency. And the second risk is putting too many trades on pairs that have the same currency in them. So for instance, let's say you had GBP USD and GBP CAD. Both pairs move very similarly over the long run. However, there will be short-term fluctuations when one might rise and the other falls for a brief period of time. For the most part, they run together though. Now, what happens is that a lot of times people will get a short-term buy or sell for one of those pairs, and they'll see a longer-term trade setting up in the opposite direction. So they'll enter both trades. They'll enter a buy and a sell on GBP USD and GBP CAD. Now these pairs both have Great British Pound in them, so they're going to move according to how the Great British Pound is going to move. So if you're trading opposite directions on pairs that move the same way, one trade is going to win and one trade is going to lose. And what ends up happening is you might take profit on a shorter term trade but miss the longer term move. Maybe you close out one of the positions and you decide to take profit on the short term move, but you miss out on the really big winner, the big move that plays out. So that might be okay for you, but a lot of people, that will bring about in them the fear of missing out and the fear of leaving money on the table. Another huge mistake that people make is seeing a similar setup across an entire currency. So for instance, they'll see a buy on all Great British Pound pairs, and they'll take all 8 Great British Pound pairs and they'll trade them each at 2% risk. So what's wrong with this scenario? Well, a few things. First of all, 2% risk times 8 pairs means you're risking 16% of your account, which is bad. And what's worse is that your entire portfolio is the same currency. So there's no diversification at all with it. So at one time, 16% of your trading account could be completely wiped out over a tweet or a news announcement, even if the news announcement is false. Like, those fluctuations can take you out of the market. And it happens to people all the time. And it's not a big deal. These news events and these tweets, they're not a big deal as long as your risk is managed properly. So this is one of the biggest issues that new traders have, is that they see the same setup happening on multiple different pairs and they take all of them. And the only issue with that is that they're all connected to the same fundamental economic reasons. So really, this just goes to serve as a reminder that you have to be aware of the pairs that you're trading at any given time and how they're related. So without this knowledge, you can be very susceptible to over-risking, even when you think you're being moderate or conservative. Investing is all about diversifying your portfolio, and in trading, it's much the same. Knowing your correlations will allow you to have a smart trading profile with limited amounts of risk. If you see a particular currency with setups across the board, simply take the one that looks best to you and that has the best risk to reward relationship, risk to reward ratio. So this is another way that you can better increase your risk to reward. If you see a pair setting up and you see the similar setup all across the board, go with the one that has the best risk to reward ratio. So if you follow follow this basic general outline, and I'll get more in depth in another video about specific pairs and how they're correlated. But for now, you just need to know that you can't put too many trades on with the same pair because they're all going to move very similarly like that. And also, don't trade the same pair two different directions.